Greetings everyone, I'm Kevin and I'm doing the DNF tag today. So as I said earlier, I'm doing the DNF tag, and this tag was created by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. I will have the original video down below so you can check those out. But without further ado, let's get into the tag. So the first question is, do you DNF? And today, the answer is yes. But a few years back, I really hated DNFing, and DNF stands for Did Not Finish. So I really hated kind of giving up on a book because that's what it felt like. And if I felt like, oh my god, this book is horrible, this is not for me, I would push through it. If I DNF'd it, it would be kind of like admitting defeat in a way, and I did not like the thought of that. But today it's kind of it has to do with my time, like valuing my time. And if I read every single book that I pick up, I won't have time for books I will actually enjoy. So I DNF whenever I feel like this is not doing anything for me, this isn't enjoyable, entertaining, or anything, or it's problematic in any kind of way. I just feel like, no, this is not for me, and I push it aside. So that's kind of like how I DNF, but yes, I DNF. So the second question is, if you DNF a book, do you count it towards books read that month? Yes, I do, because it's kind of like it has to do with the value of time. Again, if I push through a book, I don't just DNF it the first time that I feel like, oh, this is it for me. I push through and I keep going until I feel like, no, this is not, there's no way that this book will turn around and become enjoyable for me. So because I've read a chunk of it, I have read it, and so I will put it as read. So on the spreadsheet that I have personally, and not just like Goodreads or that kind of thing, I have date started, so when I started reading the book, when I finished the book, and then when I DNF'd the book. And then I have pages read. So I will only count the amount of pages that I actually read. So if a book is 400 pages long and I read 150 pages of it, I won't count all 400 pages. I will just count the 150 that I read. You get what I mean? So that's, yes, I definitely count it because I did read it. Even though I didn't finish it, I did read a lot of it. The third question is there a difference between DNFing a book and just putting it down? Yes, because DNFing a book for me is, this is kind of like, I'm giving up on this book. I'm not going to attempt reading it again in the near future. Putting down a book is just, I don't have time to finish this at the moment, but I still want to finish it, you know? So DNFing is just like, no, this is not for me. I don't want to finish this book. And putting it down is, I want to finish this book, but I don't have time. So that's kind of like the difference to me. And then we're on to question 4. What popular book did you DNF? And this is a little bit like weird to talk about, I think, because there are 3 books that are popular that I DNF'd. But it's kind of like, it's weird. I will explain. So the first book on this list that I DNF'd is Aristotle and Dante. Just, it was not what I expected the first time that I read it. Like, I had a special, like, I had a vision of what the book would be, and it didn't live up to my expectations. And so I was kind of like bored, and because the book didn't live up to my expectations, I was just like flipping through the pages and didn't really finish it. When I picked it up a few years later, because I still owned the book, I decided like, I'm gonna give it a second chance, and I read it and I was like, oh my god, this book is absolutely amazing, and it is now one of my absolute favorites. So that is why that first one is weird. The second book that I DNF'd that is popular is Throne of Glass, and I think I read like 100 pages, but there were a lot of issues in the book with kind of like a lot of things didn't add up. It didn't make a lot of sense. It was very illogical in a lot of ways. And because of that, I felt like, are these things going to keep going throughout the book? So I went to Goodreads, I read reviews, and all of them pointed to yes, the book will continue being like that. So I felt like, okay, I'm not gonna finish reading it if it will keep being illogical to me. So Front of Glass, I DNF'd, have not picked up after, and have not planned to pick up after. And the third book is the opposite of Aristotle and Dante, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin. The first time that I read it, I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 3 stars. It did drag a bit to me. I really enjoyed the beginning. It didn't really care about the middle 300 pages, and then the end I was kind of enjoying, but I really enjoyed like the first part. The beginning was my favorite in A Court of Wings and Ruin. And then last year, like almost exactly a year ago, I decided, hey, I'm gonna reread the entire A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I really enjoyed the first book. I really enjoyed the second book, and I DNF'd the third book this time around, and it was not what I remembered that it was. And I think I gave it 2 stars or 1 star. I don't remember. I didn't give it that much. I rated it very low, but it was just, I don't know really what changed. If it's that I changed after reading it the first time, if I matured as a reader, I don't know. Also, the first time that I read it, I wasn't really as fluent in English as I am now. So I think that also comes into play, that when I read them the first time, I didn't understand the words as much as I do today. So I think that might have like had a part to play in it. I don't really know, but those are the 3 popular books that I have DNF'd. The next question is, what book do you wish you had DNF'd? And this is very like weird to me, because this author is one that I used to see as one of my absolute favorite authors. And it is Adam Silvera. I love More Happy Than Not, and I love They Both Die at the End. So those 2 I absolutely adore. And then I felt like, okay, I'm gonna read His Drizzle You Left Me, because of course that's gonna be a 5-star as well. And that book, the audacity of that book. The thing is that, to me, that book is problematic in a lot of ways. I have a long review if you want to check that out. I will leave that linked down below. After a third into it, it became a hate read. And I really, really wanted to DNF this book. But I read this book at the time that I said like earlier, when I felt like if I didn't finish a book, it was a failure. Like I had failed as a reader if I didn't finish the book. So I really pushed myself through the book, and I did not enjoy it in the slightest. And yeah, so that is definitely a book that I wish I had DNF'd. Question number 6. Do you ever reattempt to read a DNF, and has this ever been successful to you? As I said in an earlier question, yes, Aristotle and Dante was a DNF, and I reread it and absolutely fell in love with it. So yes, definitely. So question number 7. What do you do with books you DNF? I put them in a corner. Especially like books that I DNF'd the first time I read, and I feel like there's no way I'm gonna reread this book, because there is no way this book will be better the second time around. So I just put them away in a box or anywhere so I don't see them. So question number 8. Do you pick more or less risky titles because of your stance on DNFing? I think I play it kind of safe, because if I read a synopsis of a book and it seems like, okay, this book seems good, this book sounds good, this book sounds like something that I would enjoy, I will get it and I will read the book. So all of these books that I have here are books that I read the synopsis and reviews and felt like, okay, this is definitely something that I could enjoy. I don't buy books that I feel like, okay, this book is absolutely not for me and I will never enjoy this book and stuff like that. So I play that kind of safe, but that doesn't mean that I will automatically enjoy the book. I play it mostly safe. If I know that this genre is something that I don't enjoy, I will not get that genre. If it's a genre that I think like, this is one of my absolute favorite genres, of course I'm gonna get the book if the synopsis sounds good. I play it safe. Let's just say that. I play it pretty safe. So that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and please leave a like if you do, and I will see you next time. Good reading. Bye.